All right, y'all, let's jump right in. This video is the most important video of all of real estate wholesaling when it comes to the entire transaction. I do not care what lead strategy you have. I do not care how many leads you get. I do not care how much money or what viral video. I don't care about any of those things when it comes to the sales conversation. It is the missing piece for everybody in this industry. If you don't watch any video in this entire training, this is the one. How to go from $0 to $20,000 paychecks is going to be 100% contingent upon the sales conversation. So I want you to buckle up. Take notes. I didn't skim over anything. The sales conversation I take dearly to my heart. I always tell people, yes, real estate changed my life. But the truth of the matter is without sales, real estate couldn't do anything. I want you guys to imagine a hammer, right? Hammer. Think about wholesaling being the hammer, okay? And you're going to try to build a house, okay? You can't build a house with just a hammer. You need more things, okay? And so the sales conversation brings all the other pieces to wholesaling. Right? You can know what wholesaling is, you can skip trade, you can do all of these things, but without knowing how to talk to people, y'all, it's worthless. So let's jump right in. I can't wait to give you a gift of what absolutely transformed my life, and that's going to be the sales conversation. Let's get it. All right, so the reason why most wholesalers never get good at this piece is because they never have a place to practice or work with anyone else. And so what I want to tell you is that that's going to be paramount. So role playing is going to be key. So before we dive into the conversation structure, I want you to know how you can practice this is going to make all the difference, more than just what you're going to watch. All right. So one of the first things I want you to do as you start to learn this stuff from me, I'm going to break it down into what do I have? I have 5 parts here. I'm going to break this all the way down into 5 parts. And then you're going to take those 5 parts, write them all down. And I want you to start to role play, even if you're looking in the mirror with yourself. But if you got a significant other, I know that they want you successful. In order for them to get the most out of what you're trying to do, they got to help you, okay? And for you to get the most out of this entire training, you got to be able to role play. So do not feel weird about it or awkward or anything like that when it comes to asking somebody if they're open to being a seller for you. Role playing is key. We do it in the community all the time. Every single Friday we do role playing where you're playing a tough seller. I'm being the buyer being the wholesaler, right? And vice versa. We're going to mix it up. We're going to do what we have to do. But I do think in order for this all to make sense, okay, for all of this to make sense, you have to role play. You have to make sure you have a sounding board for everything we're going to go over, okay? So let's jump right in. So part 1, y'all, is going to be the open, all right? So the open, you're going to build rapport with the seller. So let's say you're calling a seller over the phone and you're trying to get the information to get to the end of the conversation, all right? So the first thing we're going to do, which is a lot different than what a lot of people out there teach, is we're going to build a relationship based on an imaginary relationship, all right? Okay, it's gonna be based on an imaginary relationship, and here's how it goes. Let's say your name's Chris and you're watching this, okay? And let's say Chris is our seller. I'm the buyer. Ring, ring, ring. Hello? Hey, Chris, what's up, man? Pause. Chris is going to say, what's up? Who's this? Oh, man. Sorry, this is Tez, man. I'm calling about the property over at 123 Main Street. Have you thought about selling it? That's it. When we open up as if we're a friend, Chris has to take a second to think, wait, do I know this person? This part is so important. This is going to set you apart from 90% of other people. That's what you say. What you don't say is, hey, is Chris Jefferson there? I'm trying to see if he's open to selling his house at 123 Main Street. Or, hey, is Chris Jefferson there? I want to. First of all, when you say somebody's first and last name, they already know you're not a friend. They already know you're trying to sell them something. Hey, Mr. Jefferson, you Mr. or Mrs. in front of their name? That's not how friends address them. What I want you to do is foster a relationship. I keep doing this because that little bit of time, that 2 seconds they have to think is going to separate you from the competition. They're just going to hang up. I mean, wouldn't you? right? If I just called you by Mr. whatever, none of your friends refer to you that way, right? And so it's important for you to know this when talking to a seller, all right? Let's dive right into the opening line. We talked about that. How to set the frame early. We talked about that. What not to say. We talked about that. Part 2 is going to be motivation discovery, okay? Why are they really selling the property? So you're in that conversation, right? And you get to past the point of, I would consider selling it. You say, okay, great, man, okay. And so, if you were to sell this property, break it all down to me. Like, what's got you even thinking about selling it in the first place? And some people say, well, you called me, right? And sometimes that happens, but what happens next a lot of times is people will say, well, I don't know. Money, right? I want money, like a lot of money or money to do this or just money. And a lot of times people let that be the difference between them or digging deeper and say, okay, you want money? Okay, cool. And they move on. Listen to me, y'all. Nobody sells real estate for money. I know that sounds crazy. But 99% of people would rather hold the real estate to build wealth long term. If they don't hold it, it's because they don't have the means to, so maybe support to take care of the property or whatever, or they need the money so much to take care of whatever is next. Because we all know money's just a tool, right? So they're getting this tool to do something. And whatever that something is, oftentimes can help you find the real why. And so if they say, well, I just want money. Okay, money. Okay. And what are you looking to do? Are you going to go buy something different? Are you going to help your kid pay for college? Like, what's going on? And you can find that why. It's very seldom where you ask the why one time and they just spill out all the motivation on you, right? Even if they do, it's not the real reason. They get to just spilling stuff out. It's just not going to happen. So what you have to do is I want you to indoctrinate something called going 3 whys deep. And finding a way to find those 3 whys. I did this. This is 4. Don't count my thumb, all right? 3 whys deep, okay? You want to go 3 whys deep. You want to try to dig in deeper, ask questions, find the motivation, and figure out what's going on, okay? So that's part 2, and that's going to be finding the motivation. Number 3 is anchoring. Set the expectations before you give a number, okay? So after you go through motivation, you're going to then just talk through the condition of the property. Okay, you're going to get them to relive what's going on in the house, asking them questions like, okay, if you would, before I get you an offer, I'm here to get you an offer, but before I do, I need to know just a couple things about the house. Is it okay? Yes, it is. Okay, great. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best condition and 1 being tear the thing down, what would you rate the exterior of the property? Start on the outside of the house. So they can tell you about the roof, the HVAC, all the windows, right? The siding if it needs it, brickwork if it's a brick home, the landscaping, everything on the exterior. You always start with a scale because the next thing you say, if they say less than 10, anything less than 10, you say, okay, so what are some things you would do to get it to a 10? And then they start to spill it all out. I would change this. I would do this. I would do this. I would do that. Awesome. And if they don't say roof, if they don't say HVAC, if they don't say things that you know are on the exterior, that's a time for you to ask. Okay, so, what about the roof? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. The roof needs this. Nah, you with me? And you're going to go on the inside and say the same exact thing. Now that they're reliving the condition of the property, it helps you going into giving your offer. All right? So, again, we went, that's part 3. Okay. Now, in part 3 also, we're going to frame the comps. Okay. And what I mean by that is we're going to talk about what houses are selling for in the area that are in great condition. For the most part, it's not going to be in the condition of the property that we're calling upon if this is our seller where we can actually make a deal happen. Most times, ARV comps, houses that are in perfect condition where we're ranking our value, the as-is houses are in that good of shape. And so you can kind of do a comparison so they know, like, okay, your house is in this condition, but houses that are in this condition are going for this. And they may say, well, yeah, houses in my neighborhood are going for $250. What you have to understand is if they're saying, comparing their house to a house that needs more work, that doesn't need as much work, then it's not a comparable. And when we frame it this way, we're giving them a real glimpse into us anchoring them low in price. So we got motivation, we got condition of the property. We're framing comps to kind of set the framework to let them know, like, hey, your house isn't in this good a shape, right? And then part 4, okay? Now, one thing about going into part 4, it's the close. So how to actually ask for the contract. You're gonna do the assumptive close, okay? So you're gonna say things like, okay, assuming that we do get this across the finish line and we can get you an offer today, this is kind of where we're going to be, or this is the process, without giving them a number, walking them through the process, getting them bought in on the process and things like that. All right. And then the 2 options close. That's another way to get it done. You have the assumptive close, and then you have the two option close. Depending on the personality type, these things kind of work kind of interchangeable, so you don't have to do both or stack both on top. You have the 2 option close, the assumptive close, and then the silence after the ask. The most powerful tool you have is going to be silence. So the 2 options are the assumptive close. So today, after we get the agreement all knocked out, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. You're assuming they're going to move forward with you. The other option, or the 2 option close, is, hey, if you'd like, we would like to go ahead and move forward with the paperwork so we can get this done. What's going to work best for you? Should I send it over to you through text, or should I just go ahead and send it over through email? Right? You've given them an option. So now they choose one. Both work for you, okay? And so this really, really works. Or should we do it in person, right? You can interchange the options, but only keep it at 2 options because people will get confused. But those are soft ways of setting up and framing the close, all right? Now let's move on to number 5. The top 3 objections handled in real time, okay? Let's dive right in. All right, y'all, let's get right into the top 3 objections that we get. I'm going to help you overcome them. So we've already went through 4 important parts, okay? We went the open, we went motivation, we went anchoring, we went the close, and then number 5, we're going to go over some objections that you get. I need you to think about it. Listen, when we open up the conversation, one thing you need to know is that, yes, we're building rapport, but in that segment of building rapport, we're asking a key question, and that's, if everything makes sense today, before I dive in and ask you all these questions, are you ready to make a decision? No, at that you'll get it up front, right? So at the end, if they say, I need you to think about it, you can say, hey, earlier we were talking and you said you were willing to make a decision, or you were ready to. What's going on? Like, what can I help with, right? Because the last thing you want to do on the back side of the conversation is them saying, I need to think about it, and you say, why? Right? Like, then it's just going to be like, what you mean, why? Like, I just need to think about it. Now it's just a conflict, okay? So you really kill the objection on the front end of the conversation, because by the time it gets to negotiations, they're not as open, right, to give you anything to help close them, okay? That's the first one. Number 2, your numbers are too low. And I typically ask that. I answer that with a question by asking, compared to what? Compared to the house that's sold, that's in a lot better condition than yours. Compared to the house being listed on the market, where if you were to list it, maybe you can get more. But again, you don't get the fast process of no closing costs by working with me. The fast process of closing, in 2 weeks, and not having prospective buyers walking it all day. Prospective buyers being, realtors bringing their clients in. And because a lot of times, y'all, these cash purchases, these sellers go with us because the process is so much faster and easier and better and painless and all those components. But they try to want their price and our process. And what you have to be comfortable talking to a seller and breaking down is that you can't get a fast process and retail price. You might as well list with a realtor if you want that. With us, we are going to have a lower number, but we guarantee convenience. Okay, so it is an exchange, and you have to be comfortable breaking it down to a seller. All right. The next objection is going to be, I have other offers. So I'm going to kind of just wait and talk through that. And what you can do is you can talk through those offers with the seller. Are they higher, or what are some things that got you thinking about those offers over hours, and really unpack it and break it down, because what you'll see at the source is they may not even trusted other companies while they didn't sign it yet. The other company may not be as reputable as you being on the phone and breaking them down through the process. They may be in another state, or there's just all these other things. So the number one thing I want you to do is unpack the offer that they're talking about. Don't just assume they have it. Ask for a copy of it so that way you can see it, just to help them identify a fake buyer, right? Like these are all ways that you can unpack it. So the number one thing you want to do with that objection is just check credibility and ask good questions. Don't just get off the phone. All right. Now look, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is the reps are the only thing that make you good. Do not forget role playing, as I open up with. That is super, it's so key. And again, in our Verified Flippers community, we teach you sales every single week. I know it was a lot I tried to pour on you in this 15, 20-minute video, but I really wanted you to understand how important it is in a sales conversation. And you get so much better when you're talking with us every single Friday, right? So 2 things. If you need help and you want to, learn how to overcome sellers' objections, you want to know all the intricate details of getting better, because there's like 7 personality types we go over in the community. You got the driver, the enthusiast, right? And it's just all these personality types, and how you approach the conversation is so different. And so that's why scripts are okay, but honestly, y'all, scripts just don't work like knowing how to talk to a person based on their communication style. And so these are things that we cover in our community, and we go over, and people show up and they get better every single time. You should be one of those people. So let's get back to the 2 things. 1, if you want to join us, click the link below, join the community, so that way you can tap in, join our weekly sales training, get all the help that you need, go out and actually get deals done. Number 2, if you found this valuable, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. We are almost through this, y'all. This video was the most important. Always come back to it if you need to. All right. I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Let's go.